Good morning, y'all, y buenos dias. So for today's video, I have me reading your assumptions about me. And so I thought this video would just be like a hilarious thing. I'd seen a couple of other people doing it and I was like just dying laughing. And so I asked you guys on Instagram to send me your assumptions about me, and some of them are just so outrageous and hilarious, and some of them are so unbelievably right. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, then keep on watching. Okay, so I just screenshotted them from Instagram, so I'll just be reading them off my phone. The first one is, you're a very spiritual person, and I can agree with that. I wouldn't be, you know, like, I know a lot of people in my life who are like super spiritual, and like that's always been like a goal of mine to get to that level, and it's a process. If you guys hear, it's Luna running around. But yeah, it's a process, and like I want to devote more and more time for it every day. And so yeah, that one's pretty right. The next one is, you seem so on top of your life, like you never act out or really let people down. So as someone who's always been kind of out of the box and just kind of going against the norm for a lot of things, like it's funny because like with some things I'm very like traditional, you would say, like, you know, like even with me and Zach, like getting married, getting a house, having kids, kind of like the like what you're supposed to do kind of thing. And then with other things, you know, I get all kinds of crap for all the time, like being heavily tattooed or having kids at a young age or being vegan, or you know, like all kinds of stuff. So I guess that one goes both ways. Like my mom is very proud of me, and she encourages all of like my life decisions, and she's always been like my rock and stuff. So like with her, you know, she's very proud of me. But with other people, like I can't speak for them in saying that I haven't let other people down. But I know that my mom is really proud, so love you, Ma. The next one is, you're a control freak. And they said, you're still awesome though. So with this, I think it kind of, that one is kind of true and kind of not at the same time. Like I am a very particular person about a lot of things, and I think that's just how me and Zach are. Like we like routine and we like to have things ready. Like, you know, like we're very particular about our house and being minimal and being clean, and like the dishes have to be done when we're done eating, and like everything has to be saved. So yeah, so we're both a lot of control freaks, but at the same time we are kind of free-flowing. So it's like, I don't know, it's a little, it depends I guess on what it is. Like if you're talking about like our house or schedule and stuff, like I like being on a schedule, and I just like order, and that has a lot to do with the fact that whenever I was a kid there was no schedule like or order ever, and so like now I like implementing that into my own life. So yeah, I am a little bit of a control freak. You're anti-vax. That's actually funny because I am not. If you guys have seen a couple of my other Q&As and stuff like that, you guys have known that Luna is vaccinated. She's just been on a delayed vaccination schedule, and I think that's something that a lot of people assume of vegans or of people who are like more natural based, which I am, but if you guys watch the Q&A, I kind of go into an explanation as to why we decided to vaccinate Luna, and I'll put that in the description down below if you guys want to dig a little bit deeper into that. But no, I am not. You have really strong opinions on certain foods that you don't like to eat. Actually, no, this is a trait that I got from my dad. Ever since I was really little, he never allowed me to not try something just because I thought I didn't like it. So I am always up for trying like new combinations of foods and new cuisines, and like I think that has a lot to do with, like I said, my dad always encouraging me to eat and try different things even when I was really young. And I think that's a cultural thing as well, like how in our modern American culture we have like kids food and then we have like adult food, right? Like they have like kids menus and stuff like that. Well, like for us that was never a thing. Like you're just eating what everyone else is eating, and so for me there was never like the whole picky eater kind of mentality like ever. And so no, like I am so down to try like different foods and different food combinations. Like there's not like a particular thing that I don't like to eat or that I won't. Like, you know, like some people don't like onions or bell peppers or whatever. Like I'm like pretty much down for any kind of food or any food combination. You're feisty. So yes, I can agree with that one. Arroz, frijoles y pan son tus comidas favoritas. That is correct. So you give me a plato with arroz con frijoles and aguacate and pan bolillo and a little bit of vegan crema, like I'm set for like life. You weren't always vegan or lived a minimalist lifestyle. That is correct. By no means whatsoever did I grow up in any form of minimalism or veganism at all. Like pretty much polar opposites of both of those things. Growing up in like at and below the poverty line whenever I was really young, and then once we were able to overcome that and kind of move up, we had talked about that before, just discussing how people who come from poverty, once they are able to get out of it, you become like a maximalist, right? And so you want to prove that you don't have to have the minimal amounts of stuff anymore. So once I was in high school, like I had so much of everything and it was kind of unreal. I explained that to you guys before, you know, when my mom and dad grew up in El Salvador, they had literally nothing. And so once they were here and worked really hard, they wanted to have stuff. And that's something that me and my mom have worked really hard to kind of overcome. And like, we don't have to prove ourselves anymore, that we are anything, you know, to anyone. And so yeah, no, by no means minimalist at all. And with veganism, that's even like further away. No, I grew up eating, you know, pupusas revueltas and fajita and boudin and crackling and gumbo and like sausage and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, nowhere near minimalist or vegan when I was growing up. You loved elementary school, but by middle school, high school felt stifled by testing and sitting all day. I don't know why I get this vibe. So it's actually kind of funny because it's the opposite. I didn't know any English when I first started school, and just the whole dynamic of school was something that I was never used to. And I didn't know anyone and I hated it. Every single day, every morning I would cry and cry and cry because I didn't want to go to school, and I didn't like the food because it was food that I had never had before my entire life. You know, it was just a huge drastic cultural change, and like even though I was like, you know, like 4 or 5, it was still like a really big deal, and I really hated it. And it wasn't until I was in middle school and high school that like I did like it. And so like middle school, I went to a magnet academy for arts, and that was a blast. That was like so much fun and I loved it, and I made so many like amazing friends there. And then in high school was like a trip, and I have so many like lifelong friends that we're still like talking to like every single day from there. And so yeah, it was actually the opposite. I really didn't like elementary school just because of the cultural shock that I had, and also because I just didn't like it like at all. And then once I got to middle school and high school, like having friends and like having extracurriculars to do, like that's when I hit my stride. You're very chill and go with the flow, and that kind of goes with the other one that I was saying, like the whole control freak one. Like I feel like I'm a combination of both, because like yes, I do like order and I like things being a certain way, but like for example, like when we went to Chicago the first time, me and Zach, like years back, we got there and our plan was to rent bikes, and like we'd ride bikes the whole time. And then once we got there, there were like no bike shops available to rent any bikes, and like we just laughed. Like stuff like that, like I don't take seriously at all. Like that's just like, oh, something happened, like it's not a big deal. It's more so like smaller things that I can control. Like if things are completely out of my control, I don't even worry about it anymore, which is something that it's taken a long time to get here and to be able to be comfortable with that. But it took a lot of life experiences to realize that there is no point in worrying about stuff that you can't change. Just focus on the things that you can. So like, you know, on our organization and our minimalism and our, you know, like routine of stuff like that, I can control, therefore I control it. But with other stuff that I can't control, I'm just like, whatever, like so go with the flow type of person. You're amazing, duh. Thank you. You seem like you want to have a lot of kids. So I mean, like, I feel like I would, but at the same time, like, no. So Zach and I have talked about this obviously like before a lot, and in theory it would be cool to have like a lot of kids, like 4 kids and stuff like that, but we just want to be realistic with like our budget and our time and our like energy levels, you know, like, because I am you know, trying to homeschool Luna, and I'm super dedicated to her all day long, and it is extremely exhausting. And like, she eats a lot. I mean, like, I just can't imagine money-wise how I would be able to do it, to have like 5 or 6 or, you know, however many kids, just because like we are planners, and so we've calculated, like, you know, budget wise with how much we have to spend, and, you know, even just taking Luna to the library and taking her to museums and taking her like places, like all of that stuff adds up. So I don't know about that one. I'm not down to have a lot of kids. You seem like you're anti-establishment. So if you guys have seen any of my videos, either on here or like my post on Instagram, y'all already know the answer to that one. You seem like you eat really healthy all the time, and I wish I could do that. Okay, so this one, I have a little rebuttal to that one. So we eat pretty healthy most of the time. Not all the time. We are ethical vegans, which means that we are vegans for the animals and the environment and that jazz. I love that eating a mostly plant-based whole foods diet is really healthy and makes me feel really good. But if I want some crema and I want to add a little bit of vegan bacon to my food, I'm gonna do it, because like that satisfies my soul, right? Like, I know that faux meats and faux cheeses like are not healthy at all by any means, and I know that, which is why we don't eat it like all the time. But by no means do I eat like super clean all the time. Like, y'all see on Instagram that I post like of us going somewhere and I'm eating like vegan boudin and stuff like that, you know? So we definitely do try our hardest to eat as healthy as we can, but I love greasy fried food every now and then, and Zach loves sweets, so I'll make him like a cake or, you know, vegan chocolate chip cookies and stuff like that. So while we are always vegan all of the time, we are not always whole foods plant-based all of the time. So that's that difference right there. You seem like you could be an asshole. So I guess that one's true. I'm just not even gonna deny that. I'm very like strong-willed about my views on things, and not that like I'll like antagonize anyone or like go forth and attack someone, but if you're like dismissing my values or dismissing someone else's worth as a human being, then I will go off. Yes. You look like the kind of person that has all the patience in the world. So that's really sweet, but really, really not true. I work hard, really, really hard every day to keep my patience up, especially with Luna. I mean, like, that's the #1 tester of patience to me is like your kids, and it's because like you have to guide them and you have to be patient with them all of the time, and they can be really annoying. I mean, like, that's just fact. And so while I do try to be as patient as possible, it's really hard sometimes, and sometimes I lose my patience just like everybody else. And so what I do is just to try to let things roll off of me if they're not really critical, and to not like scoop down to a toddler's level. You get what I'm saying? Like, if she's being like ridiculous and hectic and whatever, like, I have to be the adult, because I am the adult in the situation. So like, while I try my hardest to be, you know, rational and patient and ever-loving holy mom, yeah, no, it doesn't happen all the time. I definitely lose my temper sometimes, and I just have to like walk away when she's being ridiculous and is just yelling and, you know, being whatever, because I don't want to yell, and I don't want to, you know, be antagonizing her when she's already in that situation. So yeah, while I do try, I do not always have patience. So that is it for today's video. I had a lot of repeats, so almost all of those had like multiples of the same assumption, and so that's why I didn't answer every single one. Some of them were worded a little bit different, but it was the exact same question, or the exact same assumption, should I say. But yeah, that is it for today's video. If you guys have any comments or questions or any other assumptions about me that I will either debunk or agree with, leave them down below. Tlazocamahti for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.